routine matter consistent with the vote of town meeting, and it would merely require a vote of the board to go forward. Sure.
Comments, questions?
That's what they want, let's give it to them.
Mr. Prisco.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the amendment to Home Rule petition changing the date of the annual town meeting in the town of North Reading, house number 5070, and sign same.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Next item on our agenda is an ambulance bill write-off. Mr. Belkonis?
Board members, if you refer to the pink sheets in the packet, there is a request to write off $900. The request documentation is provided, the financial information. The request is being submitted as a hardship request for someone that utilized ambulance services, and doesn't have the financial means to be able to pay the bill. Respectfully request the board to abate, and you have the specific information that's included in the package.
Are you making a recommendation on this, Greg?
Would request that the board consider and approve. Typically, we have a difficult time chasing down people that, for delinquent ambulance bills. It's nice to hear from someone that provides us with information and submit something that I believe supports the request.
Comments, questions?
I would concur with the town administrator. Based upon the financial and the circumstances surrounding this particular recipient of this ambulance service, I'd vote in favor of writing off this particular bill.
I concur.
Mr. Prisco?
Mr. Chairman, I move to write off, in accordance with Hill Burton Standards, ambulance bill number 10-658, run number 60997, incident date 4/14/2010, in the amount of $900.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Moving right along. Legal bills for October 2010, Mr. Belkonis.
Board members, in your packet is the bills for October. You'll note that the bill is for $6,055, of which the majority of those costs relate to expenditures for the October town meeting. There's also some labor issues that are included here and in here, but again, the majority of the costs relate to preparations necessary for the October town meeting, a little bit over $3,100, and I would request you so approve.
Questions? Mr. Prisco?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve legal bills for October 2010 in the amount of $6,055.35 as follows. Copeland and Page, PC General, $4,597.35. Copeland and Page, PC Labor, $1,458.00, for a total of $6,055.35.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Next item on our agenda are boards and committee appointments and reappointments. Are you gonna handle them in the order of the slates handout for the motions, Greg?
Yeah, I would suggest that the board address them if you refer to the motion packet that you have before you, beginning with the Board of Appeals.
Mr. Chairman, I move to place a nomination of the following names for appointment, reappointment as members of the Board of Appeals for terms to expire December 31st, 2013. There are two openings: James Dimitri, 10 Oscars Way, an incumbent; Paul O'Leary, 5 Adrian Drive, an incumbent.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Leary, seconded by Mr. Delaney.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just as a note, just as disclosure, Paul O'Leary happens to be my brother. We've had previous rulings from Town Council and the State Ethics Commission that it would not be inappropriate for me to vote on this, as there is no remuneration or any pay involved with this. It's a voluntary position, and therefore I may participate. Additionally, I happen to be the liaison. These are the only applicants that we have. They're both long-serving members and have done an admirable job, and I would recommend that the board reappoint.
Discussion, Mr. Yule.
Yes, through all the meetings that I've been to, I've not met Jim Dimitri. I've not seen him at any of the meetings, at least that I have been to. There usually have been 3 there, and in all the hearings I've been to, I've not seen him.
I'm sorry?
Through all the meetings that I've been to, I've not seen, does he go by Jim or James?
Jim.
Jim, I've not seen Jim Dimitri at
So
any.
Charlie, 3 members sit, or associate members,
Right.
so that they can switch off. Mr. Dimitri has been a long-serving member, and depending upon what's going on in people's lives, associate members have sat in for extended periods of time, and it's been working very well. And he expressed an interest in reappointment.
Okay. Has anyone else dropped off? So it's still the same?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just comment that I've attended various ZBA meetings in which there have been various members in attendance and not in attendance, and Mr. Dimitri, on a couple occasions, had been present
Okay.
in a couple of meetings I had attended. So that's what I can add.
Okay.
Okay, on the motion, this will be I guess this can be regular,
Yeah, there's just 2
standard
openings
vote,
and 2,
2 and 2.
unless someone has an objection and wants to be
Yeah.
recorded otherwise.
Anyone?
Want to vote individually or jointly?
We can do jointly if that works.
Okay. On the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following name for reappointment as a member of the Board of Appeals for a term to expire on December 31st, 2013. 1 opening. This is a John Nelson, 7 Adrian Drive, an incumbent.
We have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Delaney.
Again, Mr. Nelson, again, has been a long-standing member, associate member of the Board of Appeals. Again, served off and on in various capacities, sitting in a number of hearings, and again, is seeking reappointment. Once again, I think the Board of Appeals have done a good job of keeping us out of court. That's a good thing. So I would recommend reappointment.
Further questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Just a question going forward, Greg. Have we posted prior to this meeting, looking for candidates? I know we've seen on and
sure.
off.
Oh, yeah. It was
It was in the paper.
too. It
All
was
the
in the
time.
newspaper
Yeah,
also.
a couple times.
Next one is Conservation Commission.
Mr. Chairman, I move to
Mr.
place in
O'Leary.
nomination the following name for reappointment as a member of the Conservation Commission for a term to expire December 31st, 2013. There's 1 opening, Thomas Romeo, 74 North Street.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Leary, seconded by Mr. Delaney. Discussion, Mr. O'Leary.
Mr. Romeo is, again, a long-term incumbent on the commission, served well, and is expressing an interest in the appointment, which we really appreciate, and I recommend the appointment.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Next one, we will have a roll call vote.
Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following names for appointment or reappointment as members of the Hillview Commission for terms to expire on December 31st, 2013. There are 2 openings. Edward Rocco, 17 Old Farm Lane, incumbent. Peter Hemme, 55 Lindor Road, incumbent. Paul Dorsey, 18 Magnolia Road. Peter Moffett, 2 Greenbrier Drive. Thomas McDonough, 19 Orchard Drive. Ann Davis, 23 Hillview Road. Paul Ashman, 4 Winterberry Lane.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Leary, seconded by Mr. Delaney. Mr. O'Leary?
2 incumbents are seeking reappointment. Again, Mr. Hemme, we just appointed in October to fill an an unexpired term. And timely, I considered untimely resignation of Mr. Diamond, an untimely death. Mr. Henry, again, has hit the ground running and doing a great job. Mr. Rocco has served 2 terms on the Hillview Commission, comes to the commission with a strong background in the hospitality industry, in relation to, particularly in relation to the oversight of the function hall, has served extremely well. So I would recommend the reappointment of the 2 incumbents, Mr. Rocco and Mr. Henry.
Any questions or discussion at this point? I'll call for a roll call vote. Mr. O'Leary.
Mr. Rocco and Mr. Henry.
Mr. Rocco and Mr. Hemme.
Mr. Delaney.
Mr. Rocco and Mr. Hemme.
Mr. Yule.
Mr. Rocco and Mr. Hemme.
And the chair votes Mr. Rocco and Mr. Hemme.
Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following name for appointment or reappointment as member of the Taxation Aid Committee for a term to expire December 31st, 2013. There's one opening. Gloria Mastro, 128 Central Street, incumbent. Billy Mae Donahue, 12 Green Street.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Leary, seconded by Mr. Delaney. Mr. O'Leary.
Mr. Chairman, there's a notation here that Mrs. Mastro did not get in her citizens' activity record. I spoke with her twice last week. She expressed an interest to continue to serve, apparently something, haven't spoken to her since last Thursday. Something must have come up where she wasn't able to come in, but she did express an interest in continuing to serve on the committee, and I would recommend. And as she has filed these in the past, nothing has changed other than 3 years. Yeah.
The question I have is, there is some money that was put aside in this, for this account, but there hasn't been any activity in as long as I can remember. I think going back as far as when Mrs. Bailey was on the board. Mr. Prisco.
I don't know, can somebody just explain to me briefly what this is? I'm not familiar with this committee, so.
This was a fund that had started and not really ever been financed to a level where a lot could be done.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But
There isn't
it
an
was-
awful lot of activity at this point. I think they were looking for voluntary checkoffs and funds to be raised in order to offset some people's taxes, and not a lot of activity yet. But,
So it's a taxpayer-funded committee? Like,
Part of it.
it comes out of
Yes.
general account? And roughly, do we have an annual?
I don't
No, I don't
No.
think.
I don't know. I
anything-
can find out for you.
It's been kind of dead for a
I can
long
find
time.
out for you.
Not much has taken place because there wasn't much in the way of checkoffs or funds raised.
Okay.
Yes, but again, it was, the chairman pointed out in Mrs. Bailey's tenure, there was an effort to spur some interest in participating on the general public's part, but not a lot of activity.
Something perhaps the town administrator could give us an update on.
I'd be happy to do
Status
so.
of in a
Mhm.
future meeting. On the appointment, further discussion? I'll call for a roll call vote. Mr. O'Leary.
Gloria Mastro?
Gloria Mastro.
Mr. Delaney.
Gloria Mastro.
Mr. Yule.
Gloria Mastro.
And the chair votes Gloria Mastro. Next is Commission on Disabilities.
Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following names for appointment, reappointment, as members of the Commission on Disabilities for term to expire on December 31st, 2013. There's 3 openings. Bruce Clark, 333 Park Street, incumbent. Billy Mae Donahue, 12 Green Street. Excuse me. Elaine McGee?
Ellen McGee.
Ellen McGee, sorry. 383 Park Street.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Discussion? Michael?
It's a long-standing, at least Bruce is a long-standing incumbent. I have not had the pleasure, I only had the pleasure of meeting him once,